Romeo and Juliet is a play written by William Shakespeare, believed to have been written between 1591 and 1595. It is one of the most famous plays in the English language and has been adapted into numerous movies, operas, and ballets. The play is set in Verona, Italy, and tells the story of two young lovers, Romeo Montague and Juliet Capulet, who come from feuding families. Romeo and Juliet fall in love at first sight and vow to marry, despite the obstacles their families place in their path. The play explores themes of love, fate, and the consequences of violence. It is a tragedy, with a devastating ending that has become one of the most famous scenes in literature. The play begins with a prologue, in which the audience is told that the play will end in tragedy. The prologue also introduces the feud between the Montagues and the Capulets, which sets the stage for the conflicts that will drive the plot. The first act of the play introduces Romeo, who is lovesick over a woman named Rosalind. However, when he attends a Capulet party in disguise, he meets Juliet and immediately falls in love with her. Juliet feels the same way, and the two lovers exchange vows of love. Act 2 sees Romeo and Juliet arrange to be married in secret by Friar Lawrence. The friar agrees to help the young lovers in the hopes that their marriage will end the feud between their families. Act 3 is the turning point of the play, in which the violence and tragedy begin to escalate. Romeo, who has been banished from Verona for killing Tybalt, Juliet's cousin, secretly returns to see Juliet. However, when he is discovered by Juliet's cousin, he kills him in a fit of rage. This act of violence sets in motion a chain of events that leads to the deaths of Romeo, Juliet, and several other characters. Act 4 sees Juliet fake her own death in order to escape a forced marriage to Paris. Romeo, who believes Juliet is truly dead, takes his own life in despair. When Juliet wakes up and discovers Romeo's body, she also takes her own life. The final act of the play sees the Capulet and Montague families finally reconcile, but at a terrible cost. The play ends with the Prince of Verona lamenting the tragedy that has occurred, and the promise to erect statues of Romeo and Juliet to honor their love. One of the key themes of Romeo and Juliet is the power of love to transcend boundaries, whether they be familial or societal. Romeo and Juliet's love is forbidden by their families, but they are willing to risk everything to be together. However, the play also explores the dark side of love, particularly in the form of jealousy and violence. The feud between the Montagues and the Capulets is driven by a toxic mix of love, pride, and revenge, ultimately leading to the deaths of several characters. Another theme of the play is the idea of fate and destiny. Throughout the play, characters speak of fate and the idea that their actions are predetermined. This sense of fatalism ultimately contributes to the tragic ending of the play, with the lovers' fates seemingly sealed from the beginning. Finally, the play also explores the theme of the consequences of violence. The escalating violence between the Montagues and Capulets ultimately leads to the deaths of Romeo, Juliet, and several other characters. The Prince of Verona remarks that the feud has been buried with the lovers, suggesting that the senseless violence has finally come to an end. In conclusion, Romeo and Juliet is a timeless classic that continues to resonate with audiences today. It explores themes of love, fate, and the consequences of violence, and is a powerful reminder of the dangers of hate and prejudice. The play's enduring popularity is a testament to its universal themes, and it remains one of Shakespeare's most beloved and frequently performed plays. One reason for the play's continued popularity is its timeless portrayal of young love. Romeo and Juliet's passionate and impulsive love speaks to audiences of all ages, and their tragic end has become an archetype for doomed lovers throughout history. Another reason for the play's enduring appeal is its rich and complex characters. From the impulsive Romeo to the fiercely independent Juliet, the play is filled with memorable and fully realized characters who are both flawed and sympathetic. Additionally, the play's language and poetic imagery continue to captivate audiences today. Shakespeare's masterful use of language is on full display in Romeo and Juliet, with the play's iconic speeches and poetic dialogue still able to move and inspire audiences centuries after they were first written. Despite its tragic ending, Romeo and Juliet ultimately celebrates the power of love and the human spirit. The play's final scene, in which the Capulet and Montague families reconcile, is a powerful reminder that even in the face of tragedy and violence, there is always the possibility for redemption and forgiveness. In conclusion, Romeo and Juliet is a masterpiece of English literature that continues to captivate and inspire audiences today. Through its exploration of themes such as love, fate, and violence, the play offers a timeless meditation on the human condition and the enduring power of the human spirit.